Welcome back to the Keeping Everything Simple podcast. I'm your host and fellow student Michael Klukas, and in this show, we boil down complicated topics into simple, actionable tips. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll obviously see that I just have a still image up right now of the Keeping Everything Simple podcast logo. And that's because throughout the course of this week, there's been one reoccurring theme that I think definitely needs to be talked about a lot more in our lives, and that is the value of not only dialing things back, but also knowing when sometimes the bare minimum is exactly what you need to do. See, I've been taking care of my fiance for the past week because she's has a bit of a medical issue going on right now. And I will say that the most important thing that I can do, that I've been able to do, is not just the bare minimum, but the bare minimum in other aspects of my life. My gym routine, my minimalist gym routine is still kicking strong, but I wasn't able to actually get weightlifting in, so I opted to just do half-hour running on the treadmill. I opted to do these things because, same thing with work, I have to focus on getting the right things done to the maximum effect possible. And so if I'm going to be the best partner possible, and if I was going to be the best individual to help, I have to make sure that I had the energy, the mental capacity, and also the focus to actively be there to help out. And again, this is like a trend that I believe can help us out, especially those of us in Gen Z that always feel very overwhelmed, that feel like there's so much going on. There's so much information. We're on the 24/7 news cycle. However, as opposed to sitting down on the couch and watching the news, now we have it in our pockets all the time. Sometimes doing the bare minimum is okay. Sometimes it's easier to set your focus on one particular project, one particular time, rather than trying to put your focus everywhere all at once. Because even though, which I've not seen that movie yet, even though there is value in being able to have a good balance and being able to really get everything done that you need to do, there also needs to be an understanding and a focus that that's not always going to be the case. You're not always going to have the energy. You're not always going to have the time. And you also don't want to be a type of individual where you think that life just happens to you. Instead, you want to happen to your life. Instead, you want to be the one that makes the choice, that makes the call, that makes the decision. You don't want to have to let everyone else or everything else decide what you want to do. And sometimes that comes from just, again, doing the bare minimum and being okay with that. Letting yourself be okay with understanding that, hey, you might drop the ball in some other categories of your life. Maybe, like I said, your gym routine, that might slip up. Maybe your diet, maybe that one goes out the window for a weekend because family's in town or you haven't been able to go out and do anything special, so you treat yourself out for a weekend. Maybe it is at work that you're trying to get a bunch of projects done, but you're also training and learning new stuff, and so you're just barely scraping by. And sometimes it's okay to just drop some of the balls. But as long as you know that it is only for a moment, that it's only for a small chapter there, that you're able to say, okay, I can do the bare minimum in these other aspects, but my sole focus, my priority is something I'm taking care of. I think that is where the true value lies in understanding how to dial things back and how to really get precise and intentional about what you're choosing to do. So that's my encouragement to you guys. Know when to dial back, but also know when the bare minimum is okay. Because especially for those of us in Gen Z, we feel like we're falling behind. We feel that there's not enough going on, or that we're not doing enough as compared to our peers and our older cohorts. But the important thing is that sometimes if we get a more precise focus, we're able to make larger progress overall. So if you feel you're falling behind, then sometimes I encourage you, figure out what's the bare minimum and figure out what you're going to focus on, so that way you're able to keep the ball rolling and you're able to keep moving forward one step at a time. Keep nothing simple. Have an amazing day. You amazing people, and I will see you all in the next episode. Go out there and do great things.